far left they drive a pretty hard bargain. And whatever comes out of this so-called agreement is not expected to make a lot of lawmakers on either the far right or left very happy. So ultimately, can there be enough votes to get a deal done by Tuesday? North Dakota Senator John Hoeven, a Republican member of the Senate Appropriations Committee, has supported Speaker Boehner's plan and a balanced budget amendment. And Senator, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, Bill. Greetings to you and Jenna.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's good to have you on our program today. We're trying to piece this together. We're trying to follow it as we go.
Right.
Based on what you know about what Senator McConnell said an hour ago, is this the foundation or a framework that can move forward?
I think so. I think we're tracking. We're working to get something very close to the Boehner bill that came over from the House. And we've been working very hard on it. I talked to a lot of House members yesterday, and I think we're very close.
All right. A trigger is what is being talked about. A trigger is a mechanism that Congress would establish for additional cuts that would be tied to an increase in the debt ceiling again. In your view, is that a good idea?
Well, I think it'll work, because I think we're going to have a package that's about $3 trillion in savings, and we need to. I mean, we need to get this fiscal house in order. And the way it's going to work is in two pieces or two tranches. And the second tranche of roughly $1.8 trillion in savings that we need to get, we've got to know that those savings are going to be there for any increase in the debt ceiling. So the trigger mechanism is very important, and it may be tied to a balanced budget amendment or something else that makes sure that we get these necessary reductions.
Okay, so if you have to go to the well twice, which I believe is what you're saying, this issue remains with the current Congress, correct?
Well, exactly. We've got to know that for any increase in the debt ceiling, that we've got more in savings and reductions. That's the key here to get us back on the right track to a fiscally sound situation.
Is that fiscally sound and responsible when we'll continue to drag this out? There's two ways of looking at this. You give a signal to the markets that things are not settled. We're going to be back here in November, December, even possibly next year.
No, the way it'll work.
Or the other idea is, and you probably agree with this, is that you would force Congress to examine additional cuts. And those cuts would be necessary in order to really start to dive into this debt and carve away at it. Is that the way you see it?
That's exactly right. You're talking about roughly $1 trillion in reductions up front with a committee, a bipartisan committee, 12 members, 6 from the House, 6 from the Senate, that brings forward a package by, say, Thanksgiving for a straight up or down vote. Those reductions, another, say, 1.8 to 2 trillion for a total of $3 trillion, have to be made for that debt ceiling increase to occur. And then there'll be some kind of protection or trigger mechanism, like a balanced budget amendment, for example, that goes into play if that isn't done. So we're assured that those reductions take place. Again, it's about solving the problem.
I know you're on the Senate side. Would that be acceptable on the House side after what we just watched on Friday?
You know, I hope so. What we're trying to do is get something as close to the Boehner proposal that came over to the Senate back to the House to finish this up. I think we can.
Okay.
You know, it's important that we get this done.
I agree with you on that. I think everybody's in agreement. Well, most people are who agree the debt ceiling needs to be hiked. Do you expect a deal before midnight on Tuesday, or is this the typical case of Washington when confronted with these massive issues to always go to the 11th hour?
Well, right now I believe that we will have a plan that we'll work to put through today. I'm not sure of the timeline. We're still working on the vehicle, whether it's the Boehner bill resurrected or whether we use something else like the Milcon bill, which was actually passed out of our committee. It's already passed both houses. That's going to somewhat dictate the timeline. But we're shooting to make sure, I mean, once we have this plan in place, we'll make sure then it fits so that we don't have a default issue with the timeline.
One more thing. You convene at noon today, right? The Senate does. There might be a vote sometime in the 1 o'clock hour.
Exactly.
At what point do you go with your other members and say, okay, what is it, Mitch McConnell? What's on paper now?
Already doing it. We're already doing it on a regular basis through last night, not only talking to our members, but reaching across to the House, doing everything we can to get this deal done.
All right, Senator, thank you for your time. Out of North Dakota, we'll see whether or not it happens. Have a good Sunday.
Thanks.
We'll watch from here. Jenna?
A busy day ahead.